Johnathan Quiles, first-degree murder. This girl, 16 years old, Iyana Sawyer, went missing 5 years ago. She's leaving school at lunchtime, never seen again. They believe, the prosecution, that Quiles killed her because she was, in fact, pregnant with his child. They say he shot her and then dumped her body into a nearby landfill, but guess what? She's not been found. This is a no body case. The defense arguing, in part because they have that advantage when there is no body, that not only didn't he do it, she's still alive. So if convicted, this is a death penalty case. Let's go into court now to see what's happening in this Florida courtroom. I believe a detective is on the stand. Here we go.
That mountain of trash, I was the first person in the morning taking photographs, and I was the last person leaving every single night, minus the person maintaining scene security overnight. So I was the first and last one. So I would get up there at 5 a.m. and some days I didn't leave till 6 o'clock in the evening or later.
And Detective Lillard, were photographs taken to memorialize each day that JSO searched for this missing victim?
Yes, ma'am. I began taking photos in the morning with my issued camera through JSO. The first day we had the air unit come out and take photographs of what the scene looked like prior to any excavation taking place. And we also had the JSO drone unit come out and take additional aerial photographs of the area. So we took photographs in the morning of what it looked like before we started excavating, and then we had photos taken at the end of the day to show what the scene looked like prior to leaving for the evening.
Now, you just mentioned about the excavating, ma'am. Did the individuals that did that aspect, were they actually employees of the Otis Road landfill?
Yes, they were.
Now, people that were participating, though, in the search, were those members of JSO?
The individuals that were actually doing the sifting through the various piles that we had excavated and set up in a search area, they were all JSO employees. They were either corrections officers or they were certified police officers or detectives. And
did you try to memorialize how the operation occurred during these 16 days?
Yes, ma'am. I would take, throughout the day, I would take various photographs of the excavator pulling trash debris from the dig site to bring it up onto our search area, which we had a large area coned off and cleaned every single night before we started the next day. And we would set it in rows of piles that were manageable for people to look through instead of just one big pile going through it. We had them in very small, 3 to 6 at a time searching. And so we would do that, and I would take photos of officers working. I would take photographs of from above the hill, is what I called it, looking down where we were excavating. And then I would go to the bottom of the hill and photograph it upward so you could see the progress we were making each day and how deep the hole got by the last day we were there.
Now, Detective Lillard, was January the 15th, 2019, the first day of the actual search?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
Now, we're going to go through some photographs, what's now been a composited states 1. We'll go through some pretty quickly, and then we'll do some a little bit slower. So I'm showing you states evidence 1A. Can you just tell us what we're looking at?
That is an aerial view of the Otisville landfill.
Now, could you kind of circle the area of concentration that JSO was looking for IS?
We were right in that area.
So when you say right in that area, would you agree that's approximately in the middle of the landmass of Otis Road?
Yes, ma'am.
Landfill? Okay. And this is just an overview aerial from Google Earth showing the extent of how large Otis Road landfill is?
Yes, ma'am. This isn't one that we've taken. This appears to be Google Earth.
And next, I'm showing you states evidence 1B.
That is the sign outside of Otis Road landfill. I'm taking that photograph as I'm on Otis Road, right at the entrance to the landfill.
And next, in states evidence 1C.
This is just me looking, the actual dig site, if I can draw on it.
Yes, of course.
Is more right in that area. That's just as we were driving up.
Next, I'm showing you State's Evidence 1D. If you could describe.
That is the top of the hill that we were actually doing the search. The employees of Lotusville landfill had cleared off the top because once they've put their trash or debris from construction, most of this is like construction type debris. It's not like the landfill on 301 where it's household trash. This is mostly building materials and business type trash. It's not necessarily you're going to have whole refrigerators of food and things like that. So this landfill did not have that strong odor of you think a closed refrigerator would be. This was a relatively very clean landfill with construction equipment. So once they finished laying all the trash and compacting it down, they would put dirt on top. And this is the top of that mountain where they had cleared it and made it very nice for us once we began our dig on the 15th.
Again, and I'm going to go a little bit quicker here, is just some other images, what you were just describing in States 1E, States 1F, and States 1G. I'm
just showing the area that, the smoother areas where we actually did our searching, where the excavator would bring the piles of debris and set them in those rows like I explained earlier. And this is just on the edge of the rows at the road that comes up to where we were. The little red building is like a spotter that makes sure nobody's coming or going to get hit by a car, because it's still an active landfill while we were there. They just were not dumping debris anywhere near where we were up on the top. And that just kind of brought up a question that I have for you, Detective Lillard. The area that you all are sifting through with assistance from Otis Road, did that area come from the management of Otis Road landfill? Yes, ma'am. And State's Evidence 1H, 1I, 1J, 1K. Can you describe what we're looking at? What you're looking at now is what the landfill looked like once we started. Those cones, that's our area of interest working towards the bottom of the debris pile. And how as level as it can be for trash, that's where we started. And again, it states 1L, 1M, 1N. Can you describe what we're looking at? In this photograph, I'm at the bottom of the debris pile, photographing up. You can see where the excavator is. I had him positioned there, so that was our beginning point where we were going to start excavating, and I'm photographing in an upward direction towards him. And then states 1O, can you describe what we're looking at? In this photograph, the excavator has already removed several piles of debris, and the patrol officers or correctional officers are beginning their sifting through the debris piles. And again, is this just a closer view of JSO personnel going through the debris piles in 1P? Yes, ma'am. And then in 1Q, can you describe what type of tools they're using? In this, because it's heavy construction equipment, we're using heavy rakes, the heavy metal rakes. And
okay, let's talk some trash here. There's the romance of law enforcement spending the day at the dump looking for a body. Rich Schoenstein's here, Catherine Lizardo. So, Rich, okay, I'm pretty sure we're going to learn they did not find Iyana Sawyer. So, do we care? I mean, we have to show the jury we looked.
It's a little strange because no body, no crime, as Taylor Swift would say. But I think the prosecution's point is, here's a giant landfill. The body was probably there somewhere. Some of it had already been excavated or moved. This is probably where he dumped the body. We looked really hard, but it's so big we couldn't find it.
Yeah, and Catherine, so I guess you show some due diligence to the jury. I just don't know how much time you spend on this. Do you have to go through the minutia of the parts of the dump, and this part was open, and we're working on this part over here? It's going to be so unsatisfying if they don't have some aha moment there.
Well, I agree. Right now, it seems they're laying the foundation for why this landfill was even relevant to their line of questioning. What is notable, though, is they started digging here almost a month after she disappeared. She disappeared on December 19, 2018, and they started digging at the landfill on January 15, 2019. So during that 1 month, something led them to the landfill, and I think that's where the aha moment will be, because somehow they ended up at the landfill and started digging there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, what took them there in the first place? The arrest was about a week before this. So the arrest was about 2.5 weeks after the disappearance, and then this happened so Rich makes me think that somehow they learned something from the defendant after questioning him post-arrest.
Yeah, I have to think they're going to have some sort of something to say about why they were looking there. I don't know. And obviously, if it's a month later, all of these components of an investigation of a crime, they all get harder every day that passes. And to look for a body in a dump a month later is a lot harder.
Yeah. So, Catherine, what do you expect we're going to learn was the thing that led them to Mr. Quiles in the absence of a body?
Well, maybe it's the motive that she was pregnant, 5 months pregnant at the time that she disappeared, that it was believed. Right now, what I heard is rumors that she was pregnant with the defendant's child. So, and might be at the landfill, they found something of hers, an item of the victim that led to the defendant.
What would be very interesting, and maybe it's there, maybe it's not, but if she was having any sort of prenatal care, that there's a doctor somewhere with information that really connects the pregnancy to the defendant. We're going to see. This case continues to unfold. Hey, I've got to thank and excuse Richard Schoenstein. Thank you, sir, for coming in. Always a pleasure.